What's good, Team SNL? It's your boy Smoove and your girl Lex is behind the camera today. Today we are doing a new segment called Smoove Speaks, but while I'm in the kitchen. So many of you guys may know that I'm a chef, and I've been a chef for the past 7 going on 8 years. But at the end of 2023, I kind of started to fall out of love with cooking and realized I had a different gift with public speaking and storytelling, and was able to help people change their lives in that regard using that gift. So much that I completely abandoned the cooking to go speaking full time. But what I realized was I have this talent for cooking, I have this talent for speaking. I can't bury one and be a good steward of the other. So I'm trying, for months, I've been struggling to figure out how do I be a good steward of the cooking gift over the speaking gift, but also the commitment that Lex and I have with the YouTube channel. And it was very difficult because we both do work outside of this YouTube channel. So for me to try to do business, try to do work, and try to speak, it was all too much. We figured out a way to be able to do this segment in a way that encompasses both, where we're able to do work for the YouTube channel, able to promote Chef Smoove, and I'm able to speak and kind of share some story lessons. So thank you all so much for tapping in today. I hope that y'all enjoy this. If y'all do like it, let us know in the comments if you want to see more of this. We're going to try to do this on maybe a bi-weekly or monthly basis, depending on what is going on with our schedules. So, y'all ready? All right, so today, you guys, we're going to be making 2 different recipes. The first one is actually my grandfather's jollof rice recipe. Now, for those of you who don't know, my grandfather is originally from Sierra Leone. However, his parents were first-generation immigrants from Nigeria, technically Yoruba people that moved to Sierra Leone. So we do have a strong ties to Nigeria and Nigerian roots in my family. And he had a jollof rice recipe. My aunts actually sent me this recipe, and Lex and I have been trying for months to make it. So we figured what better time to make it than today in the kitchen with you guys. Now, I do have to give a disclaimer. 1, I've never had my grandfather's jollof rice. And 2, the way that he makes the jollof rice based off this recipe is not how I traditionally make jollof rice or how I was taught how to make it. So this is gonna be a learning experience for both of us. We're gonna see how this turns out. So I want you guys to know this is not a traditional jollof rice recipe, so don't come for me in the comments. If you wanna see my personal jollof rice recipe, I will gladly give that to y'all. But we're gonna honor Grandpa today, and we're gonna make his jollof rice recipe, and we're gonna serve it with some jackfruit rundown. So this is gonna be a completely plant-based dish, y'all. If y'all don't know, Chef Smoove is vegan. Lex is also vegetarian, so we try to eat pretty healthy and plant-based and clean here, so there will be no meat in this recipe. However, if you do want Grandpa's original recipe, there is meat in that one. So we're gonna pretty much stick to the book today as far as his recipe goes. We're gonna tweak it just a little bit because Lex and I both love spice. So with that being said, let's get into the dish. Now, you guys, these are our ingredients for today. When we're making our jollof rice, we are going to be using the eggplant. Now, I know it's not traditional, so we're gonna see how this goes. But the recipe calls for eggplant, so we're gonna use eggplant. We got 2 habanero peppers that are also not in the recipe, but Lex and I like spicy, so we're gonna add them. We have half an onion, the recipe calls half of an extra large onion. The recipe calls for 1 small onion, but we didn't have a small onion, so we just used half of a large one. And we got 1 tomato. It's gonna be kind of the base for our sauce, along with some tomato paste, and I got some curry paste that we're gonna use as like a pepe substitute. So, without further ado, I got the recipe pulled up right here, and the first thing is, obviously, we're not gonna be using the meat, so we need to thinly slice all of our veggies. So I'm probably gonna dice these 2, and then these ones are called for thinly sliced. Now, the reason why I wanted to share with you guys this recipe today was because my grandfather was extremely influential as I was growing up. And I'd like to say that for him, he had 3 beautiful daughters. Shout out to my Aunt Diana, my Aunt Cindy, and my beautiful mother that is no longer with us. But he never had the opportunity to have a son. And for me growing up, my dad wasn't there physically, so my grandfather was pretty much like a dad to me. And we were able to hit off the bat and become best friends. People used to call me his shadow because everywhere he went, I was always right behind him. Even sometimes looking identical to him. And what this recipe makes me think of as I'm cooking it, or just his life in general, one of the things that really stood out to me growing up was the fact that he was so consistent and so disciplined. When I tell you guys, every night at 9 p.m., like clockwork, he would turn on the light in the living room and we would have prayer every single night. Regardless if you were going out, if you had to go out, you needed to leave the house before you had prayer, or else you were gonna have to stay until prayer was over before you could go do anything. And he would work out. I don't know exactly what he did every night after prayer, but he always spent like an hour in the back room. Like there was like a back room that was his space, that he would just spend. And we think that he used to work out or he used to do some type of meditation because he would always spend some time with himself. But he showed me at a very early age, without really even telling me anything, how important it was to be consistently disciplined and how it would lead to success in life. And that's one of the lessons that I would like to share with you all today. Is just with everything that you're trying to do, whatever goals it is that you are trying to achieve, be consistently disciplined. Even if it's nothing crazy, a crazy amount of effort, just 30 minutes or something a day, all that compounds over time till you get eventually a snowball or avalanche of success or achieving personal goals. And that's been really beneficial for me by just taking little bits at a time and being disciplined and consistent in my discipline has allowed me to achieve some pretty great things thus far, and I know it's going to take me even further to come. But for anybody who needs to hear it, be consistently disciplined in what you're doing in life. So my grandfather actually came to the US in 1949. He was deported for a year. He had to go to London. They sent him back to London in England because he was working while he was in school to make ends meet, and he was on a student visa, so he wasn't supposed to be working. Fortunately, thanks to some amazing people, co-workers and friends that he met along the way at General Motors, where he was an engineer at for about 30 years, I want to say, he was able to come back to the country. Later in the 1950s, he ended up meeting my grandmother, and they got married in December of 1959, and they had 3 beautiful children. My grandfather's life was pretty much dedicated to helping his family, especially because he was the first one from his family to come over to the United States, so he was pretty much the gateway to help bring our other family members and relatives over from Sierra Leone to the United States to help them get settled. On top of that, he was also very active in the community after his retirement with helping connect students in Sierra Leone with sponsors in the US so they can continue their education over here. So he used to do a lot of volunteer work and fundraising for a blind school as well as a cathedral school that he was affiliated with back home, and often did a lot of shipping containers to send materials and supplies over to these schools and help provide them with resources for the students that were there. And like I said, also help students who were top achievers be able to come to the States to further their education and have new opportunities. And I think that that's another key lesson that I learned from him too, was just the importance of giving back and caring for your community. When I was in kindergarten, I used to have to sign up for speech meets at school and go compete. And basically it was just memorizing poems, and who could ever have the best delivery won the prize. And so your boy used to do that and get first place, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. But also every year, my grandfather, for his organization, his nonprofit organization that he was running, he would have an annual dinner at the church. And this annual dinner would be filled with people from even senators from the state of Ohio would be there. Like a lot of older people would be there. I'd be like the only kid there, but he would make it a point that at every single annual dinner, I would have to get up in front of everybody and speak at like the tender age of like 7 or 8 and give some type of, 30-second or 1-minute address to the people, either welcoming them or doing a transition or something like that. So he really helped hone my public speaking skills at an early age. My mom encouraged me to do the speech meets, but he always encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone and get in front of all the people to deliver some address at that event every year. And I never even realized it until later on that they saw, my parents, my mom and my grandfather saw a gift in me that I didn't even realize was a gift until much later, when in October of last year, I had an opportunity to go public speak for a conference in Miami. And that's when I knew that speaking was something that was a calling over my life. And then it was, for me, just a battle trying to figure out, okay, how do I use this gift and use my gift of cooking to just help people and just maximize my purpose. And so we're trying this out to see if this combination is gonna work. Okay, we got our habanero nice and diced up. Now, the recipe calls for thinly sliced tomato. And if y'all are in the comments, man, anybody tuning into this video, please let me know if y'all have ever seen eggplant used in a jollof rice recipe, because I have not, so we are really interested to see how this is gonna turn out. All right, y'all, we got our veg all thinly sliced up. Now, for the next part. Sorry, I had to get rid of those stems. So the next step in the recipe says that we need to add onion, tomato, eggplant, tomato paste, and some seasonings reduce the heat to medium high. So we're gonna go ahead and put some oil in the pot and get these cooking and move forward from there. And y'all, please know that we are a eco-friendly household. We don't normally use paper towels, but our disposable towels are currently being washed. So we had to opt out for these today.
You said our disposable towels. We don't use
sorry.
disposables.
Our non-disposable towels.
There we go.
Okay guys, so I'm coming in with our pot. I got some avocado oil here. It's usually a good substitute for, I would say a good substitute for frying versus like traditional vegetable or canola oil. It's a little bit healthier, but it still does the same, it does the same trick. Great for frying, great for sauteing, great for cooking. Now, the recipe says that it should be at medium high or high heat, but because our gas stove is has a little bit more oomph to it than the average stove, we got it on medium. And it heats up really quickly, so we can see here, it's already bubbling, so we're good to go ahead and start adding stuff. So I'm coming in with the eggplant, tomato, our habanero for some heat. Coming in with that. Now we're coming in with our beautiful onion. A little bit of the tomato that got left behind. Boom. Okay, all that is in there. Next thing, I'm gonna stir it real fast. Just a coat. And I'm coming in with our tomato paste. So the recipe calls for the whole can. We're going to toss the whole can in there. Yo, this can is little, but it has a lot in here. And this is a 6-ounce can of tomato paste, which is pretty standard, I think. I'm gonna stir all that together. And get it cooked down a little bit. Now we got that all mixed in there. I believe that the next step of the recipe does call for our seasonings. So we're gonna come in with some seasoning. Come in with a little bit of pink salt. I'm just take this out real quick. Got some black pepper coming in. Now those are only seasonings that he uses in the recipe, but y'all know we about to do a little something with it. Coming in next with some paprika. Using it like pepper. Some onion powder. A smidge of curry powder. Quick hint of thyme. All right. Coming over here, dumping out these cans in here. Ah, it's stuck. There we go. Okay, we got our jackfruit in there. I'm gonna rinse it off, throw these cans away real quick. All right, everybody. Huge shout out to Lex for rinsing off the jackfruit. So we're just gonna come in with our hands. We're gonna break it up a little bit so it's not so clumpy. And when we're actually making our rundown, it can cook a little bit easier all the way through. It won't take as long for the flavors to sink in, for the jackfruit to get the right consistency. Now, this is a really popular vegan substitute. For us, we usually eat it very often. And some people, like, there's sometimes when you're cooking jackfruit that you can boil it down in some water and seasoning or broth first and boil it for maybe about 15, 20 minutes. And that really helps it get rid of its natural flavor so that you can kind of give it whatever flavor you want. But because what we're gonna do with this one instead is we're gonna let it simmer in our rundown sauce for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's gonna absorb that flavor. and get rid of this jackfruit flavor, and the jackfruit flavor is not really gonna get into the actual sauce itself. It's gonna kind of, I say, it almost like disseminates in the sauce. So breaking up that down right now, our rice has just about 5 minutes left. Sorry, I want to tell y'all that our stove is on a whole different level. Sometimes the rice will bubble up and like start popping everywhere. So sometimes you gotta keep an eye on it and check to make sure that's good. Also over here, the veg that we will be using for today, I have an onion, tomato, habanero, and then we got some scallions that we're gonna be cutting up to use for our rundown today. And also a can of coconut milk. That is gonna be the base of our rundown sauce. But also too, we're gonna kind of give the jackfruit a little bit of some flavor before we add it into our rundown while we're waiting for everything to get down. So basically the whole reason why I'm doing this right now in this step is because we want to give the jackfruit some flavor and allow that flavor to marinate in there for, be careful, it can fly away from you. But to give the jackfruit some flavor while we are waiting for while we're waiting for the vegetables to cook down, just so the flavor of our rundown can have some depth to it, like a couple of different layers. So, all right, Team SNL, our rice is about halfway done. Our sauce has been simmering. So what we're gonna do now is add it to our sauce. Okay, now that we have our rice in there, I'm going to put this down, turn this off. I'm going to put it back on low. We're just gonna work that in there. What you think, babe? One more round of seasoning? Okay. So y'all, we're gonna come in with those same seasonings that we used earlier for the jollof rice. Just cause now that we've added the rice in here, some of the flavor from the sauce is just naturally gonna get lost. So we're going to do that real quick. And this is what it looks like right now. So I'm coming in with just a tad bit of curry powder. Not much, some thyme. Some garlic powder. Well, sorry, this is onion powder. Coming in with some onion powder. Got some paprika. And garlic powder. A little bit of Himalayan pink salt. Not much. And then a little bit of black pepper. I usually really don't cook with salt and pepper like at all. So this is definitely different for me. Now this part is not in Grandpa's recipe. We just added a little bit of a dig to it. Now that we got all the goodness and the flavor locked in, the rest of it, we are just going to let it simmer off until the rest of the rice is cooked. Careful, make sure none of it sticks to the bottom. And we got it going on. All right, Team SNL, so now we got our jackfruit nice and sliced and shredded. I'm coming in with we're gonna season this bad boy. So I'm coming in with some garlic powder, some paprika, some thyme, so instead of allspice, I'm coming in with a little bit of cloves. It's a nice alternative if you don't have allspice. Not too much though. Some ginger. Some curry powder. Because this is a curry type of dish. Coming in with some onion powder now. pepper for some heat. Again, y'all, we like heat in this house, so gotta put some chili powder for a little bit of extra heat. And then lastly, a little bit of that Tony Satcheries. It does make everything truly taste better.
That's the version of MSG.
Nah, literally. Definitely is. Make sure that flavor is all up in there. All the seasonings get mixed in with the jackfruit. And I'll turn the ball as I go just to help really get those flavors in there. And voila. Masterpiece. Tell them what that's looking like, babe.
Woohoo!
Uh-oh.
Smell check. Woo!
How's it looking on the smell check?
It smells so good.
All right, y'all, so Jollof. Still cooking down the rest of the rice and letting all this stuff evaporate. But just want to check it just so it doesn't stick to the bottom and start burning and all that good stuff. And usually if I thought about it, I'd put some foil on the top to really trap that heat in here to really help it cook down. But it's all good, because we still about to have a masterpiece. Okay guys, we're just gonna come in and chop our vegetables that we're gonna be using in our rundown sauce. So first thing first, we gotta get this onion out of there. Get that chopped down nice and quickly. This is gonna be the first vegetable that's gonna go into our rundown sauce. Well, that along with the habanero and the green onion, they're all gonna go in together, or your scallion, whichever one you like to call it. I'm really excited for this because we haven't had rundown in so long. So I'm hoping I do it justice on the flavor, because the one in Cool Runnings is just so good.
Lex has never had a rundown.
Ooh, Lex has never had rundown before? You never had rundown before, babe?
No, it was salmon rundown.
No, I swear I made it one time.
No.
Maybe I made it with salmon though. I think that's what happened. Because I did make it at home once.
You didn't make it for me.
She was probably at work, y'all, and I was like, let me just do something. We got some nice chopped onion. It doesn't need to be anything that's super precise, but you know, just finely chop it. Now we're coming in with our habanero next, because we need some heat. If y'all haven't noticed by now, we love spice.
The people are gonna call us crazy.
Because we eating all these habaneros?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it. And it really don't be that bad. Like, it's not like we eating them raw. Like, when you cook them down, it kind of loses the heat a little bit. Chopping up our green onion next, or our scallions. And we're gonna toss this in the pot before I chop up the tomato. All right. Throw away the scraps. All right, team SNL, we're coming in with our veg. Got those onions that we diced up just a second ago. Coming in with that whole thing. That's the other half of that onion that we used for the jollof rice. So yeah, I might as well just use it for what we got here. Now we're coming in with a little bit of habanero and scallion. And whoop, trying to make sure we don't lose any vegetables. No vegetables left behind. Nothing to waste. Except for the couple that didn't make it in there. I'm coming in and just get that nice and stirred up. Tossing the oil so nothing is burning. While that's cooking, like we told y'all, our tomato. So I'm chopping that up real quick. Y'all can hear our onions and habanero and our green onion, they getting right over there. Our rice is too. Okay, y'all, so our onions are starting to get a little translucent, so I'm coming in, I'm about to start adding our seasoning. Coming in with just a dollop of that curry paste. Our curry powder, the star of the show. Gotta let that get in there and fry our vegetables. Some garlic powder. Paprika. Thyme. Ginger. Chili powder. Again, y'all like that heat. Onion powder. Look at that amazing color, y'all. And then coming in with our final ingredients. You know we gotta do it. A little tongue saturated. Add a little pizzazz to it. Came in with that. Now we're gonna let it fry. For about a minute. Next, y'all, we're coming in with those. That tomato that we chopped up. We're gonna fold that in with what we got going on. So we can get some of that flavor in there. And then we do have one more star to show that we gotta add. It's a must in all of your Caribbean dishes. We got our whole allspice, or pimiento seeds. I'll add in about. And then, there, whole allspice. Coming in with about 6 of them. Stir, stir, stir. Then next, what makes the rundown a rundown sauce? Coming in with our canned and full fat coconut milk. Pour that good boy in there. Just like that. You can see it has that beautiful color. My goodness. But, babe, it wouldn't be us if we just left it like this.
What do we gotta do?
We gotta hit it with a couple extra. We gotta hit it with another half round of seasoning.
Oh my gosh. Y'all, we don't got high cholesterol or nothing, I promise.
We don't use a lot of salt bases. We don't really use any salt outside of sometimes pink salt, and then Tony Saturates has, that specific one has less salt in it than the other ones. But just hit it with some paprika, some curry, some thyme. Our garlic and onion, and we're gonna leave it alone. Next, we're gonna bring it to a boil, reduce it to a simmer after this, after I stir in these good seasonings, and let it do its thing for a little bit. Okay. Looking good? All right. So we got that part done, you guys. Now that that is done, yes, we're going to reduce the heat, bring it to a boil, reduce it to a simmer. So I'm gonna turn it up real quick. I'm actually gonna turn on that back burner. In the meantime, so we're gonna get it to a boil and then we're gonna let it reduce. Okay, now that we got it boiling a little bit, I'm gonna turn the heat off here, bring it to that back burner, And we are going to cover and let it sit for about 15 minutes. Y'all, if y'all can smell the aroma that came out after we lifted off this lid, it's crazy. So y'all, our sauce has been simmering for 10 minutes and it just looks phenomenal. We're coming in with that seasoned jackfruit that we've been letting marinate for I don't know how long at this point. Oh my goodness, this is a lot. Coming in with all that goodness. Can't let none of it go. Too late. This is gonna be a nice little hearty rundown. All right, so now that we got our rundown together, we got the jackfruit in there. Just gonna come in, mix oh my goodness. Yeah, this is about to be phenomenal. We should do this more often. Okay. My goodness. Wow. All right, y'all. I would really just eat it as it is, not gonna lie. But unfortunately, it is a rundown dish. And part of what you gotta do in a rundown is you got to let the meat or whatever you substitute that you're using cook in the sauce and simmer down and like really get nice and tender. Truly a rundown. So, putting the lid back on, 10 more minutes, and then we're done to show y'all the finished product. Woo! Now, Team SNL, let's just walk you through. Like, look how good this looks, man. Look at the jollof rice with the curry jackfruit with a little avocado on top. Or I'm sorry, the jackfruit rundown. Man, this is gonna be a hit. Cannot wait to dig into this. So that is the masterpiece, y'all. As y'all can see, we made our jackfruit rundown with some avocado on top, the jollof rice as the base. Really excited to get into this. It took us about 2 hours, so it can be a little bit long, but we do have leftovers at least. So that is a great thing that we do not have to cook tomorrow, which is a huge plus. Before we close out, y'all, I want to first off thank you guys for coming to this first edition of Chef Smoove, Smoove Speaks, whatever y'all want to call it. If y'all have some catchy name ideas, definitely let us know in the comments. But it was nice to get back into the cooking bag and be a good steward over all my gifts. So I really want to close out by encouraging you all. If there are gifts that you've been burying or put aside in order to pursue something else, try to really take some time to meditate and reflect to figure out how you can bring all your gifts together into one place so that you can maximize your purpose and your output into the world. And as my grandpa would say, one thing at a time, and that done well. Remember to be consistently disciplined in everything that you go through. I promise you guys it will open up doors, goals, opportunities, and successes that you could never even dream possible. So thank you all for joining us today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, Team SNL, peace, love, and abundance. Oh! Also forgot a couple things. One, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new content. And of course, y'all gotta try live on camera. Had to bless the food. Just gonna get a nice little spoonful. Oh, look at that. That masterpiece. You know it's good when you gotta hit a little dance, you feel me? The flavors in this are immaculate. The coconut sauce, the coconut curry sauce on the rundown, actually pairs really well with the jollof rice. I was a little bit concerned about that. I didn't get any avocado in that bite, but I think that that's gonna be perfect because it is spicy. Like we did add a lot of spice to the rundown. We did add a lot of spice to the jollof rice. That avocado is gonna be a critical component to help cool the dish down a little bit. But other than that, 10 out of 10 for sure. You ready to get into this, babe? Yeah, okay. But we're not gonna hold ourselves up any longer. Y'all been with us long enough. We've been with y'all long enough. Until the next video, stay in touch, stay tapped into the channel. Peace.